My beloved wife, it's strange the way memories work. They come uninvited, and yet when they are about you, they feel like a lifeline. I remember the first time I saw you outside the college library, balancing a pile of books while trying not to trip over your own feet. You looked so determined, so unaware of the world, and yet somehow the world seemed to pause just for you. I couldn't stop staring. When our eyes met, you didn't flinch. You just gave me a knowing smile. There was something about your confidence, your boldness, your quiet smile that made me want to know everything about you. The early days of our love were full of laughter, mischief, and the little things that made my heart race. I remember our first street food adventure, just the two of us, dodging traffic and hawkers, trying pani puri for the first time together. You dared me to eat the spiciest one, and when I cried and my eyes watered, you laughed so hard that you had tears in your own eyes. I wanted to tell you then that I'd do anything to make you laugh like that forever. Then there was the time we got caught in the rain while walking home from college. We ran through puddles laughing like children, our clothes soaked, hair sticking to our faces. You pulled me under a small shop canopy just close enough to brush our shoulders together and whispered, "You're impossible." And somehow, in that soaked, muddy moment, it felt perfect. I wanted to freeze time and stay there forever. Even my bad habits started to change after you came into my life. I began waking up early to grab you breakfast from your favorite stall, even when it meant leaving my warm bed. I stopped leaving my clothes everywhere because you frowned so adorably when you saw the mess. I even tried to cook burnt chapatis over salted curry, but you only laughed, saying, "At least you're trying." I wanted to be better for you, to be someone worthy of your love, someone who could keep up with your boldness and laughter, someone you could spend the rest of your life with. However, our family's disapproval hung over us like a storm we couldn't escape. Every phone call felt like an interrogation, every meeting ended in disapproving stares. One night, the weight of it all broke us. "They'll never accept us," you shouted, your voice trembling with anger and hurt. "Do you even know what it's like to have your parents cry every day because of me?" My chest tightened. "Do you think it's any easier for me? My family keeps calling me selfish, accusing me of betraying them. Do you think I'm not torn apart too?" But anger blinded us both. You snapped. "Sometimes I feel like you don't care enough, like you're better off without me." Those words cut deeper than you realized. I lashed back. "Don't you dare say I don't care. I have been fighting for us every single day. But you can't see that. Then why are we even doing this?" Silence fell like a blade. We turned away from each other, pride building walls where love used to be. Days passed, then weeks. The silence between us grew heavier than the fight ever were. You started ignoring me in college, and I too passed by your side without notice. I missed your teasing, your laughter, the way we shared silly Instagram reels and absurd memes, the late night calls that made everything feel lighter. But pride kept my hands from typing that first message. I didn't know you were doing the same, staring at your phone, aching but too stubborn to reach out. Every day without you felt colder, emptier. And then something shifted in me. One random Wednesday, I ran like a madman towards the library to find you. And sure enough, there you were, standing in the same place where our story first began. Your eyes met mine, filled with hurt, anger, and exhaustion, but also with hope, with love that refused to die. For a moment, neither of us spoke, and then you ran into my arms. Thankfully, the campus was quite empty at that time, and we were spared the unwanted gazes as we cried, whispering apologies against each other's shoulders. In that embrace, I knew our love wasn't fragile, it was unbreakable. Not even our family's judgments, not even our own pride could destroy it. A few months later, you flew abroad to pursue your MBA, while I stayed behind to begin my own career. What followed were 2 years of long distance, our love stretched across time zones, held together by late night video calls, long messages, and the quiet comfort of knowing that you were always waiting on the other side of the screen. There were moments of exhaustion, days when we missed each other so much it hurt even to say goodnight. But still, somehow, we turned the distance into strength. You graduated with flying colors, and I too found my footing at work. Success didn't come overnight, but when it did, it felt like we had earned every bit of it, not just for ourselves, but for the life we were building together. And when you finally returned, degrees and dreams in hand, we were no longer just two young lovers fighting against the world. We were partners, equal and strong, ready to build the future we had promised each other. We fought for our love. In families where caste difference were walls and love marriages were forbidden, we became the targets of anger. At first, there were beatings, harsh words, taunts, threats, which were meant to tear us apart. But what they didn't realize was that pain only made us more certain. Each blow, each insult, each silent night strengthened our resolve. We held on quietly, stubbornly, until their fury began to tire. Slowly, the shouting faded, the punishment grew less frequent, and in that silence, something shifted. Acceptance didn't come as celebration or blessing, but in smaller ways. We were allowed to sit together without the same sharp stares. Our love stopped being spoken of as a crime or sin, and though it was never praised, it was no longer fought against. For us, that was victory, not in winning their approval, but in surviving their rejection and still being together at the end of it all. Our wedding was small, intimate, and full of love. No grand decorations, just strings of marigold and the faint scent of incense in the air. I still remember the nervous clicking of bangles on your wrist, the way my hands shook while tying the knot. Even our families hesitated for a second, their eyes heavy with doubt. But seeing us together, so steady, so unafraid, softened their hearts. A few smiles broke through, a few blessings whispered under the breath. It wasn't the wedding they wanted, but it was the one we had dreamed of. Raw, real, and ours. You had a way of turning even the most ordinary days into extraordinary ones. I still remember the mornings, your messy hair, your sleepy smile, and the way you would grab my hand and pull me into bed for just 5 more minutes of warmth. I miss those evenings when I cooked your favorite white sauce pasta as you hugged me from behind, or our late night drives with music blaring and windows down, silly arguments over which movie to watch, and endless inside jokes where we just laughed until our stomachs hurt. You made me feel alive in a way I had never known before. You were not just my wife, you were my best friend, my partner in crime, my other half, my home. And then everything changed. That sudden brain stroke. The world turned grey, silent, and unbearably cruel. I sat frozen beside you on the hospital bed, fingers entwined with yours, counting the breaths between the beeps of the machine as if they were prayers. I kept whispering your name over and over again, not because I thought you could answer, but because the sound of it made the world feel less empty. You had always reached for my hand when you were nervous. Now your fingers were cold, fragile as paper. I tried to press warmth back into them with my palm, to ground you, to trade my life for yours. If only the universe would bargain. I begged you to stay, to not leave me behind, but the universe was deaf to my cries. As the light faded from your eyes, it felt like watching the last page of a book close before I could read the ending I'd imagined for us. The line of your jaw, the tiny freckle by your temple, the echo of your last shallow breaths all became relics I carried back out into a world that no longer fit. I stayed there long after the machines had been silenced, my forehead against yours, mouthing promises I couldn't keep, that I would remember every ordinary miracle of you, that I would live in a way that honored the love you gave me. The hospital corridor remained long and grey, but in my chest your warmth lingered, a stubborn ember I knew I would spend the rest of my life protecting, even if protecting could no longer mean keeping you here. I still hear your laughter, still feel your hand in mine, still see your mischievous grin when I walk past the kitchen. I talk to you every day, write letters that I know you'll never read, whisper your name into the silence just to feel closer. because carrying your memory is the only way I know how to keep breathing. Thank you for listening. This is Shireen signing off. If this story whispered to you, whisper back. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you have got a story of your own, drop it in our Instagram DMs. You might get a chance to see your story featured in our channel.